Hey, what's going on? It's Roguenjosh from Adelaide in South Australia. I'm a bass player. We're doing a Slaves reaction today with Slaves. And I've got Colin on the phone. Matt is in the background. Colin, man, how you going?
I'm good here.
Hey, how are you? Good to meet you.
Your videos.
Thanks heaps. I'm a huge fan of yours. And if you've seen any video of mine, you know that.
That's what I like.
This was, you guys set up a live show. Is there a crowd on this one? Or is this just no crowd?
The production people that were actually filming it and the whole like film crew pretty much.
Awesome. All right, I'm ready to go. So this is Talk to a Friend, a song that I really love as well. The lyrics in this one, did want to ask Matt about, but the chorus in this song wrecked me the first time I heard it. Matt, when you wrote this one, Talk to a Friend, is this a song that you had written for a long time? Is this a concept that you'd thought of for a long time, or did you write this one for this?
The concept comes from, I was listening to a podcast called And the Writer Is. I always forget his name, but it's a homeboy from the Bleachers.
Yeah. And
he was saying, it was just a whole podcast about songwriting, and he was talking about that was a concept that he thought would be cool. Like, you know, something to the extent of like the way you talk to yourself, like you would never talk to somebody that you're close to like that. And I was like, oh, that's a cool concept. And this was like years ago, just kind of in the back of my head for whatever reason when I heard the track, just started singing that hook over it. And then I kind of, from there, I knew I wanted to try to make the first verse be like an actual conversation with a friend and whatever. But yeah, it's a really cool concept that I think is pretty relatable, sadly.
Yeah, I know. I remember it really spoke to me, especially because you start thinking of your friends and what they would think of the things that are going through your head, and it makes it, for some reason, more upsetting.
Yeah, dude. Well, because, yeah, you think about it. Anytime something's going bad, it kind of almost doesn't even matter what a homie... I'd be like, dude, it's all good. It's what you know what I mean? And when you're talking to yourself, you're like, you idiot. You messed up everything. You know what I mean? Like, so hopefully it's a positive takeaway.
Well, it almost gives you a way to cope with the feelings, because you can, like I was just thinking, it's so much more upsetting if you think of a friend in your head in those bad moments. So when you're in those bad moments, you could think, what would I say to a friend if they were saying this?
Yeah, because yeah, you have to be like, you're stuck with yourself for the duration of this journey, and you got to try to have a good relationship with yourself, and I think work on that relationship in your own mind, and like know how to talk to yourself. You know, some people are able to be like, all right, we're gonna get up and we're gonna do this, and we're gonna, you know, just punch through all the walls, and other people need to be like, it's okay, one step at it. You know, you gotta talk to yourself, treating ourselves with a bit more kindness. And yes, but it's a funny term that empathy shouldn't really apply to yourself. It should be pretty easy to empathize with yourself, but maybe it's not. Having
Jimmy to work with while you guys were recording, being a musician and being a vocalist, do any of the songs, the vocal, like the lines change in lyrics while working with him? Do you have a workshop with him while you're recording?
Well, so two main things. So the Heavier started out as a demo that he sent us. This was before we even really knew he was doing production. He was like, hey man, this idea for a song, no pressure if you guys don't want to work on it. But he sent us like a verse chorus of Heavier. You know, we obviously tweaked a little bit, but like that was like the gist of it. You know what I mean? So that one for sure, Jimmy had a big play in terms of like the melody and the gist of the lyrics for the demo. And then Buried Alive was one for some reason. I just couldn't come up with anything for that hook. Yeah. And so he wrote that melody, and I just kind of reworked the lyrics. But I was super grateful for that, because I love working with him as a vocal producer, because, you know, there's a lot of times you get in with a producer and they might be great, but it's, you know, it'd be like if I was trying to work with somebody who was just an amazing drummer, and I'm like, what am I going to tell you? You know what I mean? Like if I was producing Zach or something, I guess. But that's something really simple. But so being able to kind of speak in that terminology, and being not just a producer, but a vocal producer is a whole separate thing. And I learned that going through The Voice. You know, we would people that were just add those little extra things. So he would just encourage things I was doing, like, oh, that little vibrato tail, that could be kind of a signature thing for you, and you should really kind of lean into that. Like, you just you're ending with this vowel, and it should be this vowel or something. Yeah, totally. You're like, you have a tendency to dip down on these lines. Let's try to keep them all straight. You know, just things that a singer would think of. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's interesting that you mentioned Bury Alive, because that has one of the most unique lead-ins to a chorus line that I've heard. It flows, it's like you end the pre-chorus by starting the chorus within the same line flow. Is that something you two worked through together, or is that something that you like doing when you're writing songs?
So Jimmy had that chorus, and then Barry Live was finished like the second to last day. The last day we did verse, we all just pow out on that one. But Barry, like, we did those verses and the bridge as a band. Like the idea for the chorus and the pre, and I just couldn't write another verse or somebody put a gun in my head. So, yeah, it's funny. This last record was the first time I've done this where you get into a room and it's like you have nothing and then you make something and there's a set time period. Being a singer-songwriter, you like live your life for however long and collect songs as you go. So It turns out you do kind of run out of ideas. So it's like you can keep creating, but there'll be that you'll start repeating yourself, you know, unless you can go away and kind of recalibrate.
Nice. And I was hoping that this would be a little different for you and a little refreshing. I didn't even know that you were on The Voice until people in the comments started telling me. I only know you as the perspective of the front man of a band. So when I've been watching the songs, I only see you coming in from this perspective of adding the vocal layer to a song. So I remember on one of the songs you started off with acoustic. I didn't even know you could play guitar until I saw it in the video. So a lot of people have been telling me to jump on and watch your performances, but I didn't want to until I've gone through the album and had a chance to talk to you, because I'm sure that a lot of the questions you get are around The Voice, and I wanted to come in with a different perspective for this.
Totally, yeah. I think that's fun, man. I mean, it's the coolest thing about doing the band and coming off of The Voice is that The Voice viewership is so massive and it's so worldwide, and it was, 14 million people 3 times a week or something. And so crossover, there are a lot of people that are like, oh shit, I actually voted for you. You know what I mean? It's a popular show, so it's cool to hear. And dude, I can only imagine if there was some random dude that I was rooting for just tune into a show, and then like years later he's the singer of a band that I like. That'd be a pretty good feeling. So I'm like, what that would be like in their perspective. I'm like, oh, that'd be really cool. So for me, it's just been a really great opportunity. Both things were like, The Voice was my first big break. I've been doing. I grew up doing little bands, indie bands, and then was doing solo stuff. And that was my first big break and introduction into like the music industry and like professional entertainment. Doing this band was like my second big break in terms of doing something different. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's been awesome.
Oh, very cool. All right, well, I reckon we'll start listening to the song, and I'll probably have a bunch of questions because, I want to know how you guys did this in a pandemic, really. All right, sweet. So unfortunately, I will have to just describe what I see. I might have to turn the phone around, but you'll be able to hear. Let's get this one going. So this is a venue that people normally play out live?
We really ever played the song.
Dude, the bass tone is thick. What cab are you running for this?
I'm just going straight for my dark blast. I'm not even running the cab.
Oh my god, the mix is real nice. And I find that with you guys a lot, where the bass really drives the songs. Like the lead guitars kind of add ambience, but I really feel like your lines always drive the songs.
And
Yeah.
rhythm of too, so
Very cool. All right. This must be weird for you guys. I apologize. What are you thinking? What are you thinking? Are you thinking about how many people are going to see this? Because it's a live performance, and if you told me there was a crowd there, like Matt, you're really giving the lyrics here. You're meaning it. The other guys, Colin, you're looking out like there's a crowd there. Did you guys have a talk before this about how you're going to do it?
No, for me it was just having a good time. Just be like, this is our first time jamming like all these songs or like playing songs out live and all. So
Oh wow.
A little bit less awkward, but yeah, it is awkward knowing that there's going to be a bunch of people watching. Like, should we like rock out right now?
Yeah. Yeah.
Rock out is mostly,
Yeah.
I don't know. It was different for sure.
Cool. All right. So are you running synth through the room as well? Yeah. Backing vocals. Maybe got the smoke. It feels like a show. Matt, are you closing your eyes because you don't know where to look? Or is this just something you would do in a live show normally?
A lot of the stuff is pretty demanding to sing. I
mean, people have said it before, but it's like this, whatever the genre is kind of known for people writing stuff in the studio that is like really hard to pull off live. But that's the game that we play.
Yeah.
And before being in the band was always like, I'm going to play it really cool. And I want to just like keep it like really cozy in my range so that even if I'm not feeling 100%, it's like live is easy. And I was like, no, I really want to show people, clearly people were like, what's this guy? So I'm like, okay, I got to try to give it my all. And so it is challenging, but typically if we're touring and, really being on it, it's like you're a bit more warmed up. This was my first time. I mean, some of the beautiful death stuff is trickier, a bit rangier at times. Some of it's not, but all those songs I've sung them so many times now that it's like the muscle memory's more there. So all of these songs were like I just never done live before, and I just was we're in quarantine. I was like not in that touring mode, so I felt out of shape, and I was just trying to not blow it probably.
And when your eyes are open, what are you looking at?
Probably looking at some things but not really seeing it, you know what I mean?
Yeah, because I noticed you weren't looking at the camera. Like Colin was kind of like looking around the room. That's why I was like where are you guys looking to make it look like there's a crowd?
Like probably just looking, but not just thinking about this is being filmed, and I'm just thinking about whatever I'm thinking about.
Also, the lights were on us pretty heavily, so I don't think there was too much to see if you looked out. Because they drowned out by lights, so I think that's another thing that me from being less awkward about it. Because I don't get blinded by the lights.
Yeah. All right. This is probably my favorite. It's actually both. This is one of my favorite verse bass lines. The slide offs and the pauses, like with the rhythm section with Zach's technical stuff, is amazing. And this next bit with the next 5 lines, and then saying that, both you two are both shining in this bit. All right. It sounds good. Oh, you guys brought this right down. Not many bands can do this anymore, where you go right down to the bare minimum. People love still keeping too much, like sensory stuff on.
We're not too much of a technical band.
You say that, but like I think I've said before about you guys, it's like understated. Like if you said to someone, oh, learn this bass line, learn this guitar line, they'd look at it and be like, this is like, how would I follow this? But if you played it to someone that doesn't really follow rock music, maybe listens to the radio, they'd be like, oh, that was a nice song. So you've hit that balance of like hidden technicality where the drums are all over the place. I feel like you never play the same verse twice. Like there's always variations. The rhythm section's so tight, so varied. Is that hard to try to get it so it is accessible but really technical?
I don't think it's probably hard for some bands to like. I think we're just that's like when we all get together as a group of 5 people. I think that's just what we like, and so that, like I think if each one of us wrote a song by ourselves, it would sound totally different than any Slave song. But like when we all get together, like there needs to be more dynamics here. Like that's a cool atmospheric guitar. Like let's get the bass and the pitch drum like tight together so it could be a solid verse or something like that. And it's usually a lot of times we we just want I think the whole main goal is to bring the song up and down and to have a nice platform for Matt to sing over. And I think that's all we really care about. It's like writing a song, kind of like what you said. Like we all kind of like technical music and listen to that kind of stuff. But we also actually we have there's a wide range of stuff we listen to. But we just as far as us writing songs, as long as the dynamics are there and it goes up and down and takes you somewhere. And storytelling, I think that's pretty much what makes a a Slate song.
Oh, very cool. All right, keep going. Have you ever used a pick, or have you always been?
In previous games, I've used my
Yep. Oh, this song's huge. What a build-up. Is that because it's the end of the set, or did you really want to feel this last chorus?
Before the stream started, I was like, I'm probably gonna take it easy and like use too much grit. And then for some reason, as soon as the show started, I was just like, so
It's like
there's you kind of go in with a game plan, but it's a live performance, and I know for me, like I always. It's gotta be it's a performance. It's a real performance. I don't think I could, even if I rehearsed the shit out of something, I don't think I would ever like 100% stay to it. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't know. At that point, I was just doing it.
Yeah, definitely leaving it all on the court. I love it.
Thank you guys.
Even the thank you guys like a live show. God, that feels good.
It's been a year since we even got to play a show in front of a crowd. December.
Crazy.
Last December.
Yeah, that's amazing. I just wanted to go back to the songwriting as well. You said you're going to be recording new stuff. Have you already written some stuff? And what's the writing process now?
A little bit different. We usually like jump in the studio with nothing written.
Yeah.
We have six, for instance, the last record, we had 6 weeks to record it, or write and record it. So we spent 3 writing, 3 weeks recording, and we got, I think we got 14 songs done.
Yeah.
And put out 13. And then, but this time around, we got, we're in the studio in Weston, Felipe are living. We've just been writing like instrumentals. Max flown in a couple times, and he's getting really good at it. Slash engineer some things for us. But they're all just like pretty much basic ideas that who knows if they'll make the record or not. But this time coming in, some songs to like, oh, I like that part. Don't like this part. At least something to. It's not a completely blank canvas. But also it's going to be different because, like I mentioned earlier to you, we're working with Jimmy remotely while he's in Australia.
Yeah.
So we're like a Pro Tool session thing that it's going to be interesting because even like Zach is going to be doing drums at his house after we record this stuff. So it's going to be drums will be recorded after, and then Matt might do some vocals after, so it's always been an interesting ass process for us as far as recording goes. But at least this time we have some songs and ideas, and just excited to get some more music out.
All right, very, very cool. Before I let you guys go, there's a few little questions I wanted to ask. So I want to know from both of you, because I always talk about first albums and, like how important that is when you buy your first album. But the first album you get is usually something that's trash. So, for example, my first album ever was Savage Garden because it was a present from, like, my uncle. But then my first album was Offspring, Ex Neon the Hombre. So that's where I was like, I now love music. So what was your first album? But then what was your first album?
AC/DC Greatest Hits or something at Walmart. Probably the next time I bought myself it was that Bad Religion record that has Los Angeles is Burning or whatever. I don't remember what the hell it's called. Yeah, Bad Religion record. It was pretty sick.
So you got into the punk hard rock stuff pretty early.
Well, one of my homies was like super into skating and shit too, and it was this skate shop. He's like, "Yo, I'm buying the new." I didn't even know what that band was. You know what's funny is like I was in like 7th grade at the time, but I've recently kind of got back into that stuff. And I'm like, man, this stuff is great. Yeah. That guy's writing is so dope. He's so smart. His lyrics are awesome. So I really enjoy that. Fuck with some of the atheist shit now. But yeah, just like songs are cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
For me, I think it was Shaggy. I remember it was like an orange. I remember being like, "This is my first CD," but I was huge into Michael Jackson before that.
Right,
Like, I was,
yeah. And you played guitar first, so you went from listening to Michael Jackson with those amazing bass lines, and you still was like, nah.
for a little bit, but it was just like very like root type of things, and then lines and stuff. That started falling bass, and I love it now.
In the songwriting process, what is your mindset towards what I'm going to bring to the song with a bass? Because I've got what I think it is about what you do, but I'd love to know what you do when you're bringing your bass to the song.
So for me, it's like just pretty much what the song is calling for. Like what part. Most of the, if there's going to be any like technical things happening, it's probably going to be in the verse for me. Like the choruses, most of our choruses are like big guitar like chord choruses. So
yeah.
I don't want to make too busy with like bunch of runs, and like it makes a song weaker. I think if there's too much things going on with the bass when it's like a big chorus or something like that.
Yeah.
So to me, it's like trying to keep it as simple but interesting as possible. Like not just playing some root note things on the verses, like trying to really lock up. It's just like what's the song calling for at this point? Like is it calling for those deep low on the fourth, where it's just like, you know, or is it calling for like a nice little kind of like maybe a little technical bass line, or the kick in the bass are really what's driving the song.
Yeah, definitely. Very cool. That's the way that I think that everyone should come at it. I love the way that I feel like your bass lines fit the song so well. Like if there's a big chorus, the bass line is driving. If Matt's doing some like amazing emotional verse, or especially a bridge, the bass goes like real kind of stripped back, maybe a little more technical but lighter, but you know, just to add to it. And yeah, I think you are probably, if not my favorite bass player, one of my two favorite bass players for the way that you write your lines and the impact they have on the songs. I feel like it's just a massive impact, which from a bass player is usually hard to do, but I've always appreciated how you do it.
I appreciate that. You know, somebody, this really good bass player from around town, this local guy, he's an older guy, but he would always tell me it's he's like, dude, you got to understand the negative space in between, like the silence, like the pauses, like that's what I really like. You don't have to play some crazy stuff, man. You don't have to be a bass player or something like this. You know, really busy, like Flea or something like that. Like it's really what bass is about. This is it's all about the negative space, like the pauses, and it's like really what makes shit style.
And I feel like that's one of the ways that you stand out in the verses. I'll ask Matt a question with the verses and the way that the songs drop down so much. Do you feel like you've got a lot of freedom in those? Do you ever get the band to change parts of the song to match what you want to do? Or when there's like a lower part of the song, do you just like go for it? How do you insert yourself into the song the way that you want to bring yourself to it?
So far the precedent has really been like the guys bring their writing the way that they want, the way they hear it in their head, and then I just try to write to fit the structure. Yeah. Sometimes maybe it'll be like, oh, it'd be better if this was just like what it is for this pre, because the idea that I have, it should launch right into whatever for the top line, and everything can kind of change to support whatever the dope melody ideas or whatever. But I mean, in terms of verses, but really in terms of all the parts nowadays, whenever it's just about rhythms. I really like the melodic quality of the vocal itself is not really what makes the vocal line great. It's really just like the rhythmic aspect of it. And I think especially with how like influenced our popular music is with rap and hip hop and everything, it's just like, and you hear Bring Me do it all the time. You know what I mean? It's like, that's the real difference to me. If you're listening to like active rock radio, let's say, you get all the great, you know what I mean? Like, like it doesn't matter what those notes are. It would still be super catchy. You know what I mean? Like so, I just try to think about like then mixing up the rhythms. Where if it's whatever the chorus is, it's like, okay, I wanted something that's more long and legato, or it needs to be staccato and rappy, and it needs to be something different. So I'm trying to make sure I'm switching it up through the course of the song. So if it's some big open,
like Talk to a Friend is like kind of a bigger open chorus, and then like the verses are very
because it kind of needs to mix it up or whatever. But yeah, so I'm trying to think in rhythms, and then the melodies are usually easy.
It's funny because I remember this specific moment when we were just kind of, I think it was like towards the tail end of the when we were recording To Better Day, and that was like exactly someone noticed. He's like, dude, a lot of your melodies are like on the kick. He was like, me. So
it's like, funny, and I I didn't even realize that. Shit.
I feel like that's something that happens a lot when the singer is also the guitarist for the band. And I know that in a couple of songs, like in Like I Do, when Matt plays acoustic in the song, so maybe it's just part of being a musician that plays guitar as well, the understanding of the song and how his voice fits to it. He just naturally fits it to the kick, being a musician.
Totally. No, that's
Yeah.
singing, writing, and playing rhythm with that, because that's like what I did growing up. So I mean, it's been really fun. I also probably didn't think I just pour the sweet stage moves, which luckily with our genre of music, the expectation is not for me to dance, but just kind of just have fun or whatever. But it's cool. I'm really proud of all of us, I think, for being songwriters, like in the studio. And I was even just talking to Zach about this on the flight over. It's like, you know, we all just bring our A game to every song, and it's like whatever the song calls for, add our, you know, talents to the track, and it's cool. And by the way, I enjoy watching your stuff for your praise of Colin as his friend, because I'm always like, I can't, like he's gonna love this. You know what I mean? Like,
oh my god, dude! Eye Opener, that bass intro in Eye Opener, dear God, the sound you got on that. Yeah.
It's going for days.
Ah, the crunch. Sorry.
That was like Jim producer too. That like say I have what bass I want, but he was for these two albums.
Yeah.
Or that album. So I wasn't using my bass either. So he did a good job. Like Matt.
Yeah.
Probably that song in particular. I think he cranked it up a little bit too. So
yeah. The way it came in.
Jimmy's such Jimmy's another really well-rounded guy. His understanding of what's going on is super vast, and he also plays different instruments, and pretty much the same deal.
Yeah,
he's like he's real sharp, because I think we were talking about him as a vocal producer earlier, which is true, but he's to do it all. He like is weighing in, and it's like, oh, good, yeah, you should be. You really know what you're talking about.
Like he could give us advice on bass, drums, guitar, everything. Some people, like if I was like Matt was saying, if we were like producing this drummer, or like I'd be like, yeah, it sounds good, dude. But Jimmy's like, you're hitting that with your right hand a little bit.
Yeah, no,
he's not. It's your left hand. So can you change it up? It's like he just has an ear for it for sure. Great,
amazing.
Yeah,
very cool. All right, well, I will let you guys go from here, but thank you so much. This has been amazing to talk and meet in this way. Thanks heaps, man. Awesome. All right, thank you again so much. This has been amazing.
Yeah, of course.
All right, talk to you guys later. See ya.